But we also come to this in the meantime where the National Schools Nutrition Program feeds over 9 million children each school day. It aims to meet 30 to 40% of their daily dietary requirements. But to discuss this program, I'm now joined by senior researcher at the Center for Social Development in Africa, this Dr. Sadiyya Haffejee, joining me this morning. Doc, thank you so much for your time and good morning to you. I want to talk about the importance and significance here of the National Schools Nutrition Program, but also how it was really heavily interrupted during the COVID-19 pandemic, but also during that lockdown. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. So we were looking at how children were impacted by the lockdown. Like you said, children themselves also experienced the lockdown to be really difficult for them and their families. Many noted that without the school nutritional program that their families really battled. Some of them went hungry and commented on how some of their peers were really unable to have any food at home without the food at school to supplement that.
I mean, in terms of this research, how important is it in telling us what strides have been made to make sure that we recover as a country from those effects, from that impact of the COVID-19 interruption, if any strides have been made at all?
Well, I think we had Dr. Granville Whittle and Carl Muller from Tiger Brand Foundation with us on the webinar this morning. And what we realized was how really important the NSNP is for children, how much it does do to support children in terms of their physical development, their growth, and their learning. And also how the breakfast that the TBF Foundation provides supplements this. So it really highlighted the importance of the in-school nutritional program for children. And I think what we spoke about was some of the lessons learned in terms of ensuring that there's no breakdowns in terms of delivery to children in terms of their meals, and that we also spoke about the importance of ensuring that breakfast is given to all children at all schools. So I think this is one of the recommendations that will be taken moving forward from this study and other studies around ensuring that also through the Department of Education that the breakfast meals are given as well.
Yeah. Doc, you make mention of the study, the Voice of the Child study conducted in partnership with Tiger Brands Foundation. What I found very significant with the study is that it gives the perspective of the child. I mean, oftentimes the adults speak on behalf of the child because the child is a minor. But in this instance, the child is able to express through their own voice how they've been impacted, by a lack of nutrition programs in school. How important was it to get this perspective?
It was incredible. I think what was really nice about the study was that we really tried to center the voice of the child. So to hear really from children themselves how they experience the lockdown, how they experienced the food shortages, and then how they and their families cope. So throughout our report and our interactions with the study, it was really around ensuring that children's voices were heard and that we would use what they have said to kind of make recommendations. So when children complained about maybe lacking quantity or quality in the food, those were the recommendations that we put forward so that could be fixed up, so that children were getting more balanced meals, they were getting food that was the right quantity for them, that were tasting nicer. I think it's really important to ensure that we acknowledge that children and young people really have a voice, and what they say needs to inform how we act.
All right, well, we leave it there. I appreciate you speaking to me about this. Senior researcher at the Center for Social Development in Africa, Dr. Sadiyya Haffejee, thank you so much for your time this morning. Quite an important conversation webinar that was conducted focusing on the impact of COVID-19 and the lockdown on young children and learners, particularly receiving the National Schools Nutrition Program meals. The Voice of the Child study articulating and crystallizing the voice of the child, who, of course, spoke more about the impact this had on their daily lives, not receiving that ever important meal that they depend on.